Alright, picking up where we left off, Center for Enlightenment production, brought to you by Bartholomew. This is the Book of Remembrance. The Assyrian wall relief. Here you see a king and his priests approaching a altar-like object, the tree of life in symbolism. At its center you see the scallop shell. It is classic for psilocybin. We'll look at others that make that even more obvious, but when you have an eye or a pearl set in a scallop shell, you're dealing with the pearl of greatest worth that Jesus talked about in the Bible. Alright, next slide. Yeah, here we have an Assyrian art piece showing cattle and their close relationship to the mushrooms, which come from cattle dung in the most common species. Here we have a king and another high priest, and the king is holding the blue lotus flower, known to have apomorphine in it, while the priest is holding psilocybin cubensis, denoted by the eyes that are in the cap. Close-up of a mushroom of similar size, and this is the actual artwork that it came from. This is the Medes and the Persians who took over the Babylonian Empire. This is the plate of Narmer down in Egypt. So we'll go to Egypt now, and you'll see here the taming of lions as serpents. That was probably other nations that they're conquering. Here the Pharaoh is standing, and on his head he has the crown of the north, which is the area where morning glories were either grown or propagated way back when, or where they were imported, which is also traffic routes have been found where seals from India are found in Egypt, showing that there was commerce between them. The Great Pyramid. Alright, so this is the one that's missing the capstone. You see the Sphinx and the Great Pyramid. Some believe that they were built about the same time, although I believe the pyramid is older. In fact, I believe it predates the flood, although those dates don't indicate that. They've done bitumen samples and found evidence that it predates the flood. We'll be looking at a few more slides about Egypt. This is the Great Pyramid pre-flood. Discuss that. A boat was found at the base of the pyramid. This is the boat, which indicates that later on descendants of Ham and Shem and Japheth recognized that it was a boat that saved us, and that the pyramids were built before that, and so they placed a boat at the base of the pyramid. This is the crown of Pharaoh. He actually has two crowns. The crown of the north, which is the morning glory. You see it here. The morning glory tendril. And the crown of the south, where the psilocybes probably grew. You got to remember the landscape of the earth was much lusher back 3,200 years ago. BC, that is, so 5,000. The pharaohs all went through a ritual where they took a manata muscaria, and it was part of their godhood ritual. You remember in the Garden of Eden, Lucifer said, if you eat of this tree of knowledge of good and evil, you'll become like God. Immortality is implied in godhood. This is the staff of Pharaoh, by which Pharaoh ruled, and it is Satan's name, if you will, the Santa Claus mushroom. and that's Amanita muscaria. You'll note the eye here denoting consciousness. The spirit is conscious. The gills here, and here they are bowing to psilocybin, or the maker's hand, or life, the eternal life, the Ankh. Okay, so the deity in Egypt, which closely represented psilocybin, one of them anyway, was Set, or Seth. You can get that the Egyptians preserved the name of the line of Seth and called him either Seth or Set. And he was considered to be the evil god who destroyed Osiris, and was the god of flooding and storms. So much so that the Greeks, when they talked to the Egyptians about their gods, decided that this must be Typhon, one of the gods they knew. But things to note here, kind of hard to see. This is the mushroom-headed guy with the arrows, again showing up in the art where Seth has the tail of an arrow, and he's an anteater. So that's kind of denoting his size. We're ants, and he's the anteater. And this arrow represents psilocybin. Here again, the arrow. Somebody took a bullet or something and chipped away a piece of it here. But the arrow denotes the psilocybin mushroom, the arrowhead. Okay. This one will be a little complicated. I want to start fresh tomorrow. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.